think the Gulf is one of those fisheries that people don't really know about. Maybe it's because of how far offshore you have to run, or because African pompano and Cubera snapper are fish that most people haven't heard of. But this fishery is special. I know commercial spearfishermen out here who've broken the world record African pompano multiple times and never even bothered to file for the certificate. No matter what time of year or day we dive it, there seem to be fish just everywhere. Even in the Gulf, some days are better than others, but this one was one of the best days of commercial spearfishing I've ever had.
Episode of One Up, One Down Adventures. It is 2:39 in the morning, and I am very much forcing myself to be this excited. I am visibly exhausted, but I am diving with Josh and Ben McCann of Dauntless Outdoors. So, pretty excited to go out. Got an hour and 10-minute drive to the boat ramp, and then we're running a commercial trip offshore, hopefully for some APs and whatever else is around. See you guys out on the water.
Turning the well on, yeah.
Welcome back into water, everybody.
That didn't take long.
We have only been in the water for like 10 seconds and Ben has already shot an AP. The action's already started. He's getting that AP up right now while I'm literally like loading my gun, trying to breathe up. And the sharks are already coming in because they know about this AP. So for all future APs, we're defending them. We have a good practice here. You can see Ben doing it with this mutton that Josh had shot. Coming in close, making sure you grab it. But I'm really excited for this series of commercial trips that I did with Ben and Josh. You should check out their YouTube channel. It's Dauntless Outdoors. I'll leave the link in the description. They recently built a boat so that they could take over commercial spearfishing for APs out of St. Pete and Longboat. Used to do a lot of that diving with Drake, but now they have done it, and they're doing an absolute killer job of it. Amazing fish pretty much every week. They post either a giant lobster or black grouper, APs, wahoo, and for a lot of those fish, I was in the water with them with the big camera. We have some really cool stuff that we're going to be rolling out over the course of these next few months, so stay tuned. This is my warm-up dive. Really important when you're in the blue water and just in general to make sure that you're comfortable, and getting a warm-up dive in is absolute necessity, sometimes even multiple, depending on how you feel, how much sleep you got, all that kind of stuff. You can never go wrong with making sure you're well adjusted. I think I took this warm-up dive to like 60, 70 foot, just where the Kudas and the AJs kind of were hanging out. You have to go below them in order to see the schools of AP, and that's where I'm going to head on my next dive. But first we have to move spots. So we shot those two AP on that first spot, but after that, nothing was really hanging out. Both of those AP were not in schools. They were like single APs, just swimming around in the column. And so we didn't really feel very confident that we were going to be able to find a school at that spot. So we ended up moving. This is my first dive on the next spot. Getting down here, and you can see this layer of barracuda. Once you get below them, you start to see more of the fish that we're targeting. APs, snapper, that kind of thing. And right here I see this school of nice sized mangoes, and I can never resist a mango even on a commercial trip. So line up, pull the trigger, but I don't stone him and he freaks out. And this is where I made a mistake. I should have just horsed him up, but I was pretty deep and I wanted to just make sure I got to the surface. So I opened up my my reel to make sure that I was just, leisurely swimming up to the surface and that there weren't going to be any issues with my breath hold. Heading up nice and chill, checking my watch. And when I get to the surface, I start pulling on it and I immediately realize he'd been eaten by a Goliath. And the Goliath did quite a number on my shaft. Better a bent shaft than a blackout, though. Opening up the reel is always the move if you feel like you can't fight a fish all the way back up, which is completely fine, even if it is a mango. Alright, so this dive, I'm not shooting anything unless it's an AP, because we're not desperate enough that we want to shoot AJs yet. The AJs are, unless they're really big, they just don't fetch as much as the AP, because per pound they cost a lot less at the market. So APs are the most prized catch. Snapper are alright too. But the problem with snapper is you're going to get smoked by Goliath unless you stone it. So I'm going to shoot an AP. On my way down here, and what we really want to see is a school. And no one had really seen one yet. No one had shot any APs on this spot. We were considering another move. I'm grunting. I'm basically begging for them to come in. And right here you can see this school. It's a beautiful sight. You see some really big, healthy ones. And I pick this one out in the front. And I take my shot right when he goes broadside. Perfect shot straight through the gill plate. Wounded him. Makes it really hard for him to fight, because when you put the shot closer to their head, you can turn them towards you. If you put it straight broadside right in the middle of the fish, they can get flat, and pulling on them straight flat like that is like pulling a parachute through the water. They catch a lot of the water and it creates a lot of drag. Get up to the surface after free spooling my reel, and I start fighting this fish. I'm going to speed up some of the pulling this guy up, because it still takes a while even though I had a good shot. Once he gets close to the surface, just pull him in. Make sure you get your hand on the shaft, and you haven't landed the fish until you put your hand in its gills or kill it. Make sure you bleed it. For commercial trips, you gotta brain bleed and gut your fish. Put them on ice, keep them in a slush, etc. The standards for quality of fish are really important when you're selling them at market. That is a beautiful AP to start off my day. Throw them in the boat, and as soon as I shoot this AP, there's just a frenzy. So I'm loading my gun. As soon as I'm loading my gun, Ben and Josh are like, all right, we're locked in, we're ready to go shoot some APs, and that's exactly what they go and do. They shoot several in succession. I lost count. I was trying to film them coming up with them. And finally, I take another dive because I took out the big camera and was filming them and all this other stuff. And I get my gun back in my hand, take another dive, and I'm like, I want another fish here. On my way down, I love the blue water. I love how relaxing it is. It's not like the best video content because I'm literally just on my way down and you can't see anything but blue and maybe a couple of those barracudas. But experiencing it is so relaxing and so nice. Once you hit the thermocline, it greens out again, especially in the shallower spots that we shoot these fish, but it's just so nice. And you can see here, I see these APs coming in, but they're kind of like running a little bit, and then there's this single one coming close. The single one's being more chill, but it's also going to start to flee, so I take this top-down shot because I know I don't really have time to get down to it. If I had tried to get down to it and like chase it down, it was going to swim away with those other ones, and then I would have been stuck in a situation where I'm at like 90-something feet and trying to kick after a fish. I decided, take the shot early and see what happens. I take this shot, and because it was a top-down shot, I don't really have much control over the fish. Like, I don't have the shot in its head where I'm able to turn it towards me and keep it from fighting very well. I have this awkward shot where it's basically able to swim away, so it takes forever to pull this thing up. I have this sped up 20 times, and it's still too long, and I had to cut it. But finally, I get it up to me, and you can see how awkward my shot was. It kind of tears itself a little bit so that the shot looks more horizontal than it was, but you can see there that it was like a pretty top-down shot. Again, you gotta bleed the fish, you gotta gut the fish. It's a commercial trip. It is a requirement. And throw that guy in the boat as well with all these other ones. And when I say Ben and Josh went on a frenzy, they went on a frenzy. We get back in and shoot a couple more. The sharks are kind of getting crazy. But check this out. Little midday update. We got some fish in the boat, it seems. That's the one I just shot.
We're gonna get some more though. All right.
So we start moving spots, hop back in here, and this spot we're going for AJs. We get our commercial limit for AJs is 7 of them, and we're trying to get our 7 AJs and then head inshore to do some night diving before we're able to land. When you're doing commercial trips, you have to like announce basically when you're coming back in. It's called declaring. You're supposed to do it 3 hours in advance, but my experience being on Ben's boat is we kind of just, whenever we're done diving, we declare, and then we have to kill 3 hours before getting back into the dock. And we knew this ahead of time, so we decided we were going to kill the 3 hours by night diving. So you'll see that in a second. But first, we got to get these AJs hanging out down at the bottom. Ben's already shot that one from earlier, so the guts are floating down, which makes it pretty easy. These other AJs are a little bit curious, and AJs really respond well to grunting. They can't help a good grunt. They have to come check you out. So just waiting, grunting, waiting for these guys to come in, and pull the trigger right there. Get it right in the gill plate. You can see how wounded it is because it didn't just take off. It's kind of like pretty injured, not doing great. Heading up, and you can see it's still basically sitting still right there. A lot of times with AJs, it's like you'll do that to them and stun them, and then they'll wake back up once you get them close to the surface. That is indeed what happened. But those shots that wound them are really nice because the AJ are called reef donkey for a reason. They fight super duper hard. So he's kind of fighting now, but he's still kind of just doing circles here. It's literally just the drag of the fish because it's just a heavy fish. Getting him up. Good shot right in the gill plate, and then he wakes up. As soon as he gets to surface, he starts freaking out. Put a knife in his brain and all that nonsense. Pretty fish in the boat. You don't really see me shoot AJ on the channel a lot because I don't need him. But on a commercial trip, I'll shoot him. And that's why I don't think I've ever actually posted me shooting an AJ. I think that's the first AJ I've ever posted on the channel. So this is a pretty cool one. Me and Ben that's me and Ben are on the way down. Josh has just shot an AJ and the school followed it up. So we pull the trigger at the same time. And both get AJs, which makes this a triple up, which is pretty cool. Everybody's on the way up, fighting their fish. This time, this AJ is fighting me. He's just like swimming in circles here. Ben's on his way up. Josh has his AJ. We're all just fighting these guys in, and these were the last ones that we needed for our 7. It was very quick to get our limit here. Takes a while to fight them though because they are pretty strong. But finally he's coming in. I'm checking my line, making sure I don't get tangled. That's a really important thing, especially when you're fighting big fish. When they swim down, if you're tangled, they will at the very least dig into your skin, and at worst they'll pull you straight down. Got my AJ. There's Josh's AJ. There's Ben's AJ over there. And there's my guy. Josh throwing his in the boat. Mine had a hook in his face, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Must have broke somebody off a long time ago. Alright, so this is the night diving portion of the day. If you asked me to do this again, I might. I'm not gonna say I won't. I categorically wouldn't. But it was freaky. It was pretty freaky. I was not the #1 fan of doing this. If there had been fish everywhere and we were shooting fish, I might have been more excited about it. But this was what are we doing? I'm sitting on the bottom and I'm fearful. Because this is creepy. It just is. It just feels like I'm on the set of some kind of horror movie or something. Everything looks different with the flashlight. And when you turn off the flashlight, it gets even weirder. Like, look at this. The flashlight is, to me, more necessary. But I turned off the flashlight to see if the fish would want to come in more without the light. Because it felt like the light was spooking them. But I needed the light. Like, I didn't want to not have the light. I was like, nah, it's not working for me. We only ended up shooting between the three of us in this, like, 45, 30 minutes of night diving. We only shot one fish. I think Ben shot a mango. Other than that, this was not the most successful night diving venture, which is fine. That's it for the diving portion. I will see you guys in the next episode.
That was an interesting little dive.
Probably like a 22-inch mango, 23-inch mango. Yeah. And then it was like 5 feet away, so I could actually see.